All right, today we're going to look at what's called personal budget. This is part of our financial literacy section. So what is a budget? A budget is a plan to help you reach your financial goals. So a lot of people budget so they can figure out how much money they need to spend each month, and then they don't overspend. So income is money that is paid to a person for their job. So a lot of people, when people work, that's what we call that income. You can get it for goods. So if you make something, that's part of an income. Or if you do investment, that can also be considered an income. Planned savings is money that is set aside. So you are planning in advance to save like $2,000. So you set aside so much money every single month. So the big thing about this section that we're going to look at is fixed and variable expenses. So fixed expenses are expenses that stay the same each month. And the big part of this is stay. So that means you pay $20 every single month for your cell phone bill, or you pay so much for your rent. Variable expenses are expenses that change each month. So that could be your water bill, your electric bill. Those are going to change because the more you use, the more you pay, or the less you use, the less you pay. So let's look at we'll identify types if it's fixed or variable, and then we'll talk about how to find those money amounts. So we have Balthazar Bratt. He has his monthly budget down below. He makes $8,000 a month in income. So first we're going to identify if it's fixed or variable. So housing is going to be, so remember, fixed, it's going to stay the same, and then variable, it's going to change. So housing is going to stay. Transportation, that's your gas. So that can your gas, your car payment. So I know gas can change, but if we look at it as a car payment, transportation will be a fixed expense because you're going to pay the same amount every single month. Food, that's definitely going to be a variable expense because that does change however much you eat each month. You don't go to the store and spend exactly $100. Utilities are your water and electric bill. That is definitely a variable expense because the more you use, the more you pay. Then we have savings. So it can go either way, but most of the time it's going to be a fixed expense. And then other, so that could be random things, buying clothes, going to movies, toys, that kind of stuff. That would be something that's going to change each month. So that's going to be a variable expense. All right, so how do we find our blanks? How do we find the money amount, and then how do we find the percentage? So let's look at finding the money amounts first, and then we'll go back and I'll tell you how to find the percentage. So with finding the money amount, pretty easy. We're going to take our percent and change it to a decimal. So that's going to be 0.28. And then we're going to multiply it by how much she's going to use monthly, which is 8,000. So we'll do 8,000 times 0.28. We'll move our decimal over 2 times. And so we get 2240. And we don't need the decimals afterwards, so we can just mark that out. So his money amount for housing is $2,240. Okay, that's it. So we'll do the same thing with food. We're going to, again, using the 8,000, because we know what is 14% of 8,000. So we're going to do 0.14 times 8,000. Remember, when you see a percent, change it to a decimal, and we multiply. That hasn't changed. So we multiply, move our decimal over 2 times. Again, we can drop the zeros, so we get $1,120. Then we'll do the same thing with our 23%. We'll change it to a decimal, and then we will multiply. Move our decimal over, drop the 2 zeros afterwards, and we get 1,840. Okay, so what you should know, and I'm not going to make you do this, but this total right here, which is all amounts, this should add up. It has to add up to 8,000. So if we wanted to, we could add all these up and it will equal 8,000. So for the percent, all of this is going to have to equal 100. Oops, I'll put the funny sign. 100%. Okay, so how do we find the percentage? So to do this, we'll do a proportion. So let's get this down. Okay, so we're looking for a percent, so it's going to be x over 100. Okay, the 8,000 is going to go on the bottom. That's our total amount of money. And then we're going to use transportation, which is 1,200. Okay, we can eliminate some zeros because we have a lot of extra numbers. So we've got 2 we can mark out for both. So now it just makes it 12 over 80. So now we can cross multiply and divide. So 12 times 100 is 1,200. Divide that by 80. So 80 will go into 121 time. Which is 40. Bring down our 0. 80 will go into 400 5 times. So we get 15%. Okay, then we'll do the same thing with our 960. We'll do a proportion. So still x over 100 because we're looking for the percent. The bottom is our total amount, which is 8,000. And then we have 960. Okay, so this one we don't have 2 zeros to mark off, but we can mark off 1 just to make it a little bit easier. So we have 96 times 100, which is 9,600. Then we'll divide it by 800. 800 will go into 960 one time. And then 800 will go into 1,600 2 times. And that will go in evenly, so we get 12%. So if we wanted to, we could add all these up and find the missing percent, but we'll go ahead and just do the proportion to get another practice in. So we have x over 100. So we'll have 640 on top, and then again 8,000's on the bottom. We will cross multiply. We'll mark out a 0. Now we'll cross multiply. So 64 times 100 is 6,400. Divide that by 800. So it's not going to go into 64 or 640, but it will go into 6,400 8 times. That will go in evenly. And so we get 8%. All right, so your homework will look just like this. You're going to have 2 problems on your homework. Again, the problem will tell you how much the money is. You'll identify if it's a fixed or variable expense. Then you'll find the percentages, and you'll also find the money amounts. So if you need help, again, just go back and watch this video to help you figure out how to find each of those pieces.